Music theory often is regarded as dry and complicated. I firmly believe that it is better to know it and don't use it, rather than having the feeling that you need to know it, but you don't. But jokes aside, a basic understanding of music structure can help a lot and does not have to be boring. Let's start at the very beginning. In Western music, the equally tempered 12-tone system is most frequently used. It's what we are brought up with. A note, a tone, a sound consists of waves. If you take a closer look, you can see that it is all about waves. And although there is an infinite amount of frequencies, in Western music we settle down to 12 individual notes, each being 100 cents apart. If you have an instrument tuner, the numbers that go from 0 to 99 are the cents. If you count every successive note from 1 to 12, the 13th note shares the same name with the first, since they are considered the same family. Let's compare two Cs with each other. They definitely sound different, but compared with their neighbors D or B, you can feel that they are from the same family, like they share the same last name, but are two individual persons in the same family. If you take a scale that consists of all those notes available, we get the chromatic scale. Chroma is Greek for color, so you play all the colors available. You can observe that there are more than 12 names for the notes. Here the first musical signs other than the notes themselves come into play. The hashtag, called sharp, raises a note by 100 cents, also called a halftone. The flat sign, that's the letter B in front of a note, lowers it by a halftone. And here is the first thing to remember, since it will be very important from now on. Observe how there is no tone between the notes EF and BC. The sharp and the flat signs are called accidentals. Take note that the notes with accidentals have two names, but in the well-tempered system sound the same. For example, D sharp and E flat share the same sound. Let's have a listen. Now, if we take those 12 notes and only use a specific selection, we get different scales. One of the most common scales in Western music is the major scale, which consists of 7 different notes, all of which are either a half step, 100 cent, or a whole step, 200 cent apart. The 8th note here is the next one from the same family as the note we started from. And now get ready for the magic formula of the major scale. Take a note that there is a half step between the 3rd and the 4th, the 7th and the 8th note. This formula holds true for every major scale. Just make sure that there is always the half step between 3 and 4, as well as between 7 and 8. All we need to do now is put the letters from the major scale we want to build underneath the numbers. Make sure to only use either sharps or flats, and not use the same letter twice except for the first and last note. These 2 points are very important. Don't mix sharps and flats. Don't use a letter twice except for the first and last one. Here are some examples. Listen. This is C major. This is D major. This is E flat major. This enables us to figure out several different things. We can now find out that C major is the only major scale without any accidentals. We can now find out how many accidentals every major scale has. We can now find out which accidentals every major scale has. We can now find out in which order the sharps and flats add, the further you go down the major scales list. And this is exactly what I heavily encourage you to do. Practice this off your instrument. Take a pen and paper and work through it. take your instrument and check out the sounds. In the description you can find some home exercises which help you to get more familiar with the notes and scales. And that is it for now. I hope you enjoyed this first episode in my ongoing music theory class. Next time we will talk about intervals and chords. See you there, and as always, have a good one.